All right, everyone. Right now, Donald Trump is threatening to veto the defense spending continuation, kind of a pointless procedure, and I'll explain why, if Section 230 is not repealed. Now, Section 230, again, is the protection for internet platforms within the U.S. to prevent them from being litigated against under copyright law or prosecuted for illegal content, with the understanding that if you operate a platform, it's not really possible, if it's large, to police all the content adequately. And so it can take days or longer to remove potentially offending material, and without 230, these companies would be legally liable for that content. Essentially, 230 is the only reason that there's such a thing as a platform on the internet. It's the only reason. I deeply disagree with Donald Trump on this issue. I think this is the worst particular position of his presidency, is his attacks on 230. If only I could talk to him for 5 minutes, I could explain to him why it's a bad idea, is not only not going to punish the people that are fucking him over, namely Twitter, Google, and so forth. Not only will it not punish them, long term it'll actually help them. I've seen a pattern with Zuckerberg and Dorsey especially, and I'm sure others will join in, moving towards wanting to get rid of 230. These people will eventually make the same argument Donald Trump is essentially making right now. Here's what they want to do. They want to kick the can down the road, maintain 230 protection for the short term, year, maybe 2 years, and then lobby to have it removed. They'll throw it under the bus. Why? Because what it would do is it would damage all smaller platforms on the internet that are US-based. It would force them to either move out of the US or fold. They'd be sued out of existence if not. While larger firms will simply deploy AI, they'll declare themselves publishers. They'll say, yeah, we have we'll take the legal responsibility of operating a platform. They'll just deploy machine learning. Once it's sophisticated enough, you'll only need a very small team of people to be able to editorialize content. Here's what we need to do. We need to declare that all sites, all websites that predominantly are collating third-party content, whether it's business content, government content, or creative content from individual civilian users, are platforms. They will never be publishers. They do not have the rights of publishers. Section 230 should be amended to state that, and it should be given legal teeth. The government will come in and prosecute sites that editorialize content by U.S. citizens that is fundamentally not illegal under U.S. law, not obscene, and not spam. And that's it. That's the only thing they should be policing. If you get rid of 230, as Trump is suggesting, and the veto threat is ballless, basically, because they would just override the veto with a 2/3 majority, do you think that the Republicans are going to stymie a defense spending bill? Now, every Democrat and Republican, the entirety of his own party will throw him under the bus practically. You might see a few holdouts. Cornyn and Rand Paul might vote against it. I think Rand Paul usually votes against it anyway because he doesn't like war particularly. But by and large, it'll be like 90% of the Congress stacked against Trump. And it won't even be a deep state move at that point. It'll be common sense. 230 protects smaller sites disproportionately. Do you think that Minds.com would exist without Section 230? No. Ottman would have to move the servers. Rumble would not exist. Rumble is a US-based firm. It wouldn't be able to be US-based if that were the case. Parler, Gab, these sites would have to move their servers out of the US, depriving the US of money, of jobs, and of legal purview over these sites. I prefer a world in which the US is tech dominant. The only caveat to that is that the tech firms that become dominant need to not establish vertical monopolies and abuse the private users that use those sites, in some cases to talk about their brands, to talk about their ideas, and it is the modern public square. Get rid of 230 if you want, but immediately replace it with something that is essentially similar but has teeth. Something that preserves these sites, YouTube, Facebook, and so forth, as the platforms they clearly have been operating as since inception. There's no purpose to YouTube other than private individuals uploading video content. There's no purpose to Facebook other than private individuals having profiles there and interacting with people. There's no purpose to Instagram other than private individuals uploading photos. There's no purpose to any of these sites unless they operate as platforms. The risk we run by not reforming this now is that within a few years the tech giants will do some data sharing. They'll share the machine learning because they're part of a vertical monopoly at this point, the big six basically. They'll use machine learning to do 99.999% of the policing, and they'll declare themselves publishers. They'll rip apart 230. They'll lobby Congress to get rid of it. What they're doing right now is deliberately antagonizing that response. You do realize that their antagonism is on purpose, correct? They're doing it on purpose, in a coordinated as part of a coordinated effort. They want 230 gone. They can survive it. They've got billions of dollars for lawyers. They've got accountants and lawyers and the ability to move overseas at a moment's notice if they really need to. Smaller sites don't. Trump is fundamentally wrong on this issue, should back off of this fucking proposal, leave the issue alone, or push something much, much better than get rid of 230. Reform 230, or create a digital Internet Bill of Rights to be codified in U.S. law to prevent U.S. firms from disabusing U.S. users of their fundamental right of free expression, the philosophical underpinning of which extends to private enterprise. And in law, we have had situations where fundamentally private firms, company towns and so forth, have been precluded from discriminating against law-abiding individuals partaking in what they have built. For instance, a privately built road. Person still having the right to traverse that road with their vehicle because it's onerous, because it's the only road there. So you can't simply say, well, you haven't paid your company dues, so you're not allowed to drive on this road that is clearly approximate to a public road anyway. Can't do that. You can't tell people that they're not allowed to put billets up in the company town. There was a big case about this, I think, back in the 1920s, if I remember correctly. Someone was putting up political billets, and the company thugs came out to bust them up, and the Supreme Court ruled, no, you can't do that, because this infrastructure is the only approximate of public infrastructure that exists in this company town. It fundamentally needs to operate in the same capacity as far as people being able to use it, people being able to walk around on the sidewalks, drive on the roads, put up their billets in a normal fashion. Because there is no actual public infrastructure there. There is no publicly owned internet platform. There's no non-private sector alternative to the big tech sites. The only alternatives are smaller sites that are protected by 230. So simply extend and expand 230. Reform it so that it actually is meaningful. The reason why 230 was implemented is to prevent sites from being essentially sued out of existence, or potentially the CEOs of these sites being jailed because someone posted like illicit porn or something on a website. That's the reason for 230. If it's removed, YouTube is still there. They'll just become a publisher. Facebook's still there. They'll just become a publisher. Will 4chan be there? No, not on US-based servers. Would Reddit exist? Not on US-based servers. They're not part of the big six, the big website, but I don't think they're not as big as Google. They're not a Zuckerberg asset. Minds would be gone. Rumble will move. Gab and Parler will move. BitChute's fine. They're UK-based. Not that the UK wouldn't immediately adopt similar standards, throwing them under the bus in the process. They're already trying to do that now. Odyssey might be able to say, well, everything's decentralized. It's just basically an app at this point that connects to other people's blockchain-based material. I don't know that would hold up in a U.S. court, though. Now, the second something copyright infringement related is posted there and becomes accessible, it's the same as linking laws in certain EU countries already. Subscribestar might work because it's based, I think, in Russia, but would U.S. individuals be able to actually use it without potentially getting banned simply for using an off-site service instead of for using PayPal or Patreon or something? Who knows? 230 protects small businesses. 230 protects people like me. So yeah, I don't want 230 repealed. I completely disagree with Trump. I'm absolutely diametrically opposed to what he's saying here. I think that not only is 230 a good thing, we need more of it. But we need to reform it, because right now it's not doing what it's meant to do. It's meant to ensure that platforms don't get sued into oblivion. When a site stops acting as a platform while essentially being a platform, 230 needs to be expanded to say, look, one or the other, which are you? Do you want this protection, and therefore you are a platform and will continue to allow users to use your platform, or are you saying you're a publisher and then you can be sued for the content put on site? Choose one, either take the protection or take the right to editorialize. That's about all. Peace out.